there has been a bill passed to uh, ensure that there's back pay. But even in that back pay, you look at I will say it in this manner, the lower paid individuals, uh, they are really struggling
Right.
because not only is their pay affected, now you start looking at their benefits
Mm.
because those benefits have to be paid. Uh, Assistance, when all of that gets cut, when all of that gets stopped, people have to make life decisions. Then you're like, okay, I'm in your corner, but are you in my corner? Do you
Mm.
really care about me? So, you feel like an orphan sometimes, and it's sad.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to come back to that you had said earlier was about how this was not a Democratic or Republic thing. Like, this has obviously been a total like failure on the side of the government in totality. So, do you see this as one of the final straws that can possibly get everybody to just kind of like, I'm not going to say that this is going to be a kumbaya, but do you think that there can finally be some compromises made due to everybody kind of being sick of this shutdown? Because regardless of your political party, I'm sure everybody is not happy with not getting paid. So do you, just from the things people have been saying, the energy that's been around the government since it's been shut down, do you think that moving forward things will be a little bit better in that nature?
Well, and busy, I would have to say no.
Mm.
Wow.
We will, and God bless us, and hope that it never occurs again.
Mm-hmm.
But we will never have that kumbaya moment like we had September the 11th, 2001.
Mm.
America stood as one then.
Right.
We've forgotten and we've gotten away from that, and it goes back to, once again, national security,
Mm.
where we stood as one, where it didn't matter what it took, what levels we took to ensure that we reestablished America. And
Wow.
I
So,
believe that some of the politicians that we have elected that stand before us and make these decisions have forgotten that piece of fabric that we are to stand as one under the red, white, and blue.
wow.
Wow.
So
S-
in dividing that, yes, we do. I say it's a failure on government, but where we stand now, you're looking at how decisions are going to be made for America. And that's where the separation comes within the parties, because where you have your Democrats where they want programs to assist uh, those that are coming into the country. We're providing uh, uh, sanctuary cities for some. We're providing substance and assistance to others and birthright situations. And some want it. The Democrats want that, whereas uh, the Republicans don't.
Interesting.
so
However,
oh, I'm sorry.
you know, if I may,
Oh,
Go
absolutely.
for it.
because what I will say that this the crossing of whether they be illegal immigrants and or where it has been said that uh, there may be terrorists in this group
Mm.
until the river flows in a direction where one of them are affected, it's not a concern, so to speak.
Mm.
Uh, so
Wow.
Wow.
So Derek,
where we're standing knee deep in this water, they don't know. They haven't stuck their toe in it yet.
Wow.
So Derek, I don't want to put your agency out there, but I will ask this question. You work with Republicans, Democrats, independents, and people of all races and genders and what have you. What is the general consensus when your folks and your coworkers and your subordinates receive that paycheck that had all zeros across it? What has been the general, and I know this seems like sort of a stupid question, but I don't think people can fully appreciate it until they've heard it from folks that are living this nightmare every day. What has been the general consensus of your employees and your subordinates when they have received these checks that are worthless, and also as they are struggling to try to figure out how am I going to keep my lights on and keep gas in the tank so that I can make it to work so I can be furloughed?
I would have to take it back to a bit of comedy where Rick James said to Charlie Murphy, "What did the five fingers say to the face?"
Wow.
It's a slap in the face.
Wow.
Because I, as myself, that took an oath for 24 years in the military and 22 years in the federal government, and to be true to my oath to the country and to my agency, saying that I will give my all.
Sure.
It's like, now you consider me non-essential.
Wow.
I am non-essential to you because you're telling me that my coworkers that do a lot for this country in regards to national security, you're saying, you sit at the small table. You sit at the small table. You don't sit at the table where everybody else eats. You're not considered. Your voice is not considered.
Wow. So
what you do is not considered.
Wow. And along with that, we've also heard a lot of the horror stories that people are facing, and I just wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
Have you heard directly from your coworkers, or have you experienced this yourself? I know people are trying to get ahead of this whole credit situation, and it was just absolutely appalling and insulting. I saw and I think millions of Americans saw the letter that was sent out mistakenly telling people, okay, this is coming, so maybe you want to cut the grass or paint a building, and your landlord may barter with you, and just a lot of foolishness like that. But what has been the general theme that you're hearing in terms of folks that are trying to do the right thing? They're trying to reach out to MasterCard. They're trying to reach out to GMAC and those types of things so that they can try to weather this storm. Have your coworkers and your friends, have they been able to work through some of these issues, or are they getting a hard time from some of their creditors or their landlords saying, hey, it's not my problem?
Absolutely. There are some, and I will say agencies that know that people are in a pinch. However, you signed on the bottom line and you said you would pay.
Wow. And
I will say that I have heard from a few, and I have to give kudos to Navy Federal, at least.
That's good.
For what they have done. Some people that have direct deposit with them, they're actually matching that last direct deposit that person had.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
It's like,
shout them out.
Yeah. Navy Federal gets a big shout out.
Wow.
So those people, aren't losing a pay, but understandably, once you do get your pay, you have to pay
Pay
that
it
back.
back.
Right. But
Yeah.
but certainly at least they can make it, for a few minutes. I mean, certainly that is no substitute for getting your paycheck, but it is good to know that at least there's someone that's trying
pay
to
your
work with
bills on
people,
time.
because that's just, I can't imagine. And the other thing that really concerns me, Derek, is that particularly this week and next week, you got all these winter storms coming and all these other things coming through the DMV that we've seen. And, and I don't know, it's happening all over the country. We don't want to think that the federal government is just isolated in D.C., but just, we were watching the weather, and we know that the storms are coming across, and people have to pay their gas bill, and if they're trying to get to work, and, it just seems like a complete mess. But let me ask you this last question. With the people that are at your job, at least my last question, I'm sure Thin Bad will have another one for you, but
Sure.
are you finding that you look up every day at the beginning of your work day and finding that you're seeing fewer and fewer people showing up?
So for my agency, only a few, and I will say, they have brought in the top echelon of the agency. Now here's the oddity of it. With the top ones of the agency who have that 30,000 foot view of what's going on in the agency, but do not have that everyday view of the
Sure.
agency. So now they have to, I'll say, turn back the dial on their acumen and their efficacy within the agency, and actually have to, do the work and answer those phone calls.
Sure.
It's from the standpoint, and I take it back to what I said previously, when you look at the rest of us, and we have to look each other in the eye, and we look each other in the face, and we say, am I valued? Am I needed? And it's, once again, it's, I take it as an insult, just from the government that we serve, period.
Wow. And let me ask this one last question, Thin Bad, and then I'm gonna let you bust at the seams here. How did your agency prepare you all for this possible shutdown when it was in that stage? And then once the shutdown, continued, what types of things and information and support services and those types of things have they been providing? And has it been helpful, if anything's been provided?
Well, I shout out to my administrator and his staff. Well, I digress for a moment. The preparedness, we went through this in 2013. We were down 20 days during the Health Care Act. And so we understood that this shutdown that we're in now was forthcoming. And so we were kind of prepared for it. But even in that preparedness, when you have the humanity part comes in, where you take off your oak leaves and you take off your directorships.
Sure.
And the human aspect of it has to come in, and you have to look people in the face and tell them, hey, you can't come to work.
Sure.
You can't get paid. We can't pay you. So the human. Now, administratively, they have been sending out notices, fax, to ensure that people are still maintaining their ethical awareness. Sometimes, when people don't get paid, they